Yes, it's Success Precepts. My name is Sam Ibeji. Mr. Kano and Mejiwe is in the studios. Uncle K, good morning, sir.
Morning, Sammy.
Today on Success Precepts, we will be taking a look at generational limitations, particularly understanding generational limitations. And you may be wondering where we're going with that. I only appeal or urge you to please follow us for some minutes, from here or from now. And I believe you'll be blessed and blessed again. How about a writing material to put down something? I believe there's something to scribble down. Okay. Understanding generational limitations, like you did say.
Thank you, Sammy. Our task today, it's actually a continuum of what we've been talking about. I think last week I tried to reflect on what technology has, the impact of technology and negative impacts of technology. In this generation, yes. This is more or less a continuum of so many things we've been saying in the past, but what we're going to try and do now is put a lot of stuff together to help us understand what's going on. That's why I term it understanding generational limitation. Understand what's going on, understand what will happen unless there's intervention. Okay. So, more or less, we're going to define a problem, and in the course of time attempt to mitigate the effect of that problem, because the problem is already happening. I won't say we're going to prevent the problem. Yes. It's already happening, but we're going to try to mitigate the effects of that problem. These are things that I believe, as we go on, I'll be able to expand on areas that intervention should come. Mm-hmm. But so in speaking about generation, this particular topic now, I'm referring to broadly what I call the millennials. Why do I call them millennials? I refer to people born in the 80s forward. Why? Because they turn to youth in the millennium.
Actually,
basically between 1980 and the year 2000.
Yes,
that's when they actually come to life in their 20s. So we're referring to them as millennials, people born in that generation. Some of whom now probably 37, but we're still in that generation. They are a bulk of our population today. It's been said several. Nigeria has a young population, it's an advantage. It should be an advantage, but I don't know whether it's actually an advantage for us. They're the bulk of our population today, and naturally their lifestyle and their choices affect our world directly, because it common sense that these people are a majority. So what they do invariably affects
the general output at the end of the day.
Yes, everybody. So what is the problem? Let's start by looking at this generation. They are a very difficult generation to manage. That's my opening statement. Again, I try not to go too in depth because of time. I just try and touch the surface and then bring some understanding. They're very difficult. If you've worked with young people, you will understand what I'm talking about. Immediately I make this statement, you will understand what I'm talking about. If you have worked with them in any capacity, in business, in academics, even as friends, as social relationships, you find that they are very difficult people to manage. And why is this so? I'll give you 3 words. First of all, they are narcissistic. That's a very nice one. Narcissistic. NARCISSISTIC. Yeah. For those that actually will bother to find out what it means. They're narcissistic, they are entitled, they are selfish, and they're lazy. Let me break this down. What's narcissism?
Admiring oneself.
Exactly. Having or showing excessive interest
in yourself,
or admiration of oneself or one's physical appearance. What do I mean by entitled? Believing oneself to be inherently deserving of certain privileges and certain treatments.
Okay.
I've used these 2 words.
Okay. Yeah.
First one, narcissism is talking about your excessive focus, interest, and admiration of yourself or your physical appearance. This is very easy. If you remember what we said last week.
Yeah.
All those selfie people.
Selfies.
Okay. And then now I said they're entitled. Means that they generally believe that they're inherently deserving of some privileges or special treatment. And I always tell people life doesn't owe you anything. A lot of people walking around feel that life has been unfair to them. This is entitlement. A lot of people walking around today feel life has not been fair to them, and they'll give you 1,001 reasons why things have not been good for them, and things have. It's like the world has been against them. This is entitlement. This is what I'm talking about. This is part of the difficulty it is in dealing, because when you have people with these kind of problems, again, I'm not going to try and expatiate on that. I just want to get somewhere, and maybe when we sit together face to face, we can actually look at this. So these people are like this, and of course lazy. The effect of this is that, you know, they generally don't have a sense of direction. This one is contestable because most of them will think they know what they're doing. This is where the problem is.
Okay.
When a man doesn't know he has a problem. Most of them don't have a sense of direction. And all they want to do, if you speak to any of them, all they want to do is to achieve purpose, in quote, achieve purpose. They always tell you about that. And then make an impact, in quote. These are two common phrases you use, especially if you are a Christian. You hear that a lot. I'm here to achieve my purpose. I'm here to achieve what God has put me here to do. I'm here to make impact. They talk as if there's a destination called purpose, or that there's a place called impact. Purpose is not a destination. So when someone starts telling you about, I'm here to achieve purpose, the question is, what exactly do you mean by that? It's what I mean when I say they don't actually know. But I'll come to that. It's not really their fault. I'll come to that. You see, purpose in itself, right, is a accumulation of small directed steps of life.
Okay.
It's accumulation of small directed
steps.
I've put directed inside this. I can just say accumulation of small steps of life. It's important that you understand this, because your destination is as important as the journey. People talk about a destination without ever reflecting on the journey to that destination.
Okay.
So when we talk about purpose, we're talking about accumulation of these small steps of life. And impact is what you make with purpose. See, over time, you have gone from point A to point B. And when you look back, the impact you have made is in walking that path. The question is what path you're walking. Now, this generation cannot find fulfillment in anything, and they're consequently unhappy and undirected. Now, this is very important, because when we go down the line, these words will come to play. I repeat that they cannot find a fulfillment. The catch here, when people are undirected, I know this is it'll take a while, but you'll get with me. It's hard for them to find fulfillment in anything, for the reasons I've given now. It's like an unsettled person. It's hard for them to settle down into one thing and see it to the end. Right? So they're generally unhappy people. If you had to deal with somebody who is not directed, who is unhappy and lacks a sense of fulfillment, then you understand what I mean by difficulty. Now, let me give an example that will help you understand what I'm talking about. Go into a relationship with somebody in this generation. They find it difficult to form deep, meaningful relationships. For these reasons that I'm outlining here. It doesn't look there's a relationship between A and B, but there is, and that's what I'm trying to draw. It's not enough to stand on the pulpit or on the stage and rebuke and attack and do all those things we do. It's more important to understand what's happening with the individuals, so that you can know where to intervene, which is what I'm trying to do here now. So we can know where to intervene. Now I'm trying to break this down bit by bit before we get to where we are, because as I'm speaking, if you can relate it to what's happening in life, you will see that people are already here. People don't have meaningful relationships anymore.
Actually.
And I'm saying they're not doing it consciously. It's an unconscious fallout of being a certain way, which I've just described now.
Yeah.
You can't be a narcissist and talk about a good relationship, because your focus is yourself.
Yourself, yeah.
Good. Okay. Now, what's the prognosis? What are we going to do about this? This problem we are talking about now stems from four primary directions. Well, there could be more, but I'm trying to break into four primary directions. Problem with this generation. We'll extensively discuss this in future, maybe when we have a one-to-one. But let me talk about these four primary dimensions of the problem. Right. First, being parenting. Second, being technology, which I think we talked a bit about last week.
Yeah.
The third being impatience, and the fourth being environment.
Okay. Parenting, technology, impatience, and environment.
They contribute to what we see today. Let's start with parenting. Too many people these days grew up with failed parenting strategies. Now the question we're going to ask is, what are failed parenting strategies? I won't go into detail. I'll just give a few examples
of that.
And again, like I said, at some point in the future, we can sit and look at this in detail. Now let me go back. Too many kids grew up, I'll call them kids, we are kids anyway, grew up with failed parenting strategies. The formative years of children, right, is guided by three parents, what I call three parents. For balanced children, your formative years are guided by three parents, being your biological parents, your school, your church. Or let me put this way: your biological parent, your church, and your school, in that order.
Okay.
Because your first contact is your family, it's your parents.
And then the next contact is church before school.
And then you go to school.
Okay.
In this order. Now, together, how it really is that these three, your parents, church, school, they work together to build character, strength, and personal integrity. You start learning this at your foundational stage. I've chosen this word carefully because each of them has a meaning. I said character, I said strength, and I said the strong sense of personal integrity. Now, what they do is prepare the child for the future.
Yeah.
Any future.
Okay.
Good or bad.
Okay.
See, it's one thing to say I'm preparing my children for the future, when what you're talking about is only a good future, where things are rosy, where things work, where things are all pleasant. So that's the kind of future of preparing us. That's what I mean by failed parenting strategy. Because what we are trying to do is build a foundation that the child can stand on even when the storm comes.
Okay.
That's what I mean by preparing the children for the future. See, when parents steal money from wherever they steal it to provide a future for their parents, for their children, you see that there's already a problem in that, because what they're trying to do is take enough now to guarantee a pleasant future for their children. Now, this is part of what I mean by a failed parenting strategy, because you're not in control of the future and as it will evolve in the child's time. And what you have done now by trying to buffer the child from realism is make sure that the child no longer has the capacity to survive if the future is not good.
Ironically.
Yes. I'll give examples when I come down. So, these three work together to build a solid foundation that is based on hard work, perseverance, selflessness, integrity, and again, strong moral compass. I'll repeat that again. Hard work, perseverance, I underline that, because if you notice, one of the cardinal problems I mentioned was impatience.
Yeah.
This foundation is supposed to help the child with perseverance, selflessness. That defeats narcissism.
No.
Integrity and a strong moral compass. You know, if you don't write anything down, you're going to wonder, yeah, he said so much, and yeah, I can't remember what he said.
Yeah, so I hope someone is writing.
Okay, so for one of time, I'm not going to go into details on this, but let me give examples of how these things work. I'll give you an example already of preparing children for future.
Yes.
As a failed parental strategy, because you can't secure any particular kind of future. Okay. You can only prepare them for any kind of future.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll start with parents. I already gave that example with parents. And I'm saying, these days, parents have become so busy that they have substituted time with their children with money for their children. So parents no longer spend time because they are chasing the golden fleece, trying to bring the bacon home, and they substituted that time with money. So we earn the money to provide for our children so that they can have a future, but we're not giving the time, because by so doing, what they have done also is to substitute guidance with provision.
Okay.
Providing for a child is not the same thing as guiding
the child.
And that's a fundamental error.
Providing for the child is not the same thing as guiding the child.
Yes.
Fundamental error.
This is part of what I'm talking
That's
about.
what noting.
Part of what I'm talking about when I say failed parental strategies. So, parents go and buy grades for their children in school. Parents use their connections to get their children into schools. They give their children medals for coming last. Your child fails and you pat him on the back.
What should you do?
Certainly not give him a medal. See the problem with giving a child a medal. Let's look at it literally. A child comes last in a race, you give him a medal, and they do that now. In fact, in the Western world, it's common. They give everybody a medal. You run the race, okay, just for participation, here's a medal.
Yes.
When you give everybody a medal for participation, you immediately devalue the medal of the people that worked hard. If I came first in the race and you came last and they gave you a medal, what's the value of my medal?
Okay.
And you that they gave a medal for coming last know that you don't deserve the medal, so you are
Yes.
still ashamed of yourself. The problem has not been solved, the problem has been created. It's really simple. If we were preparing for a 100-meter race when we were in school, and I wake up every morning and I sprint around the field and you're sleeping, and then you come last and they give you a medal, so you don't feel bad.
Yeah.
But you know you don't deserve the medal, so you still feel bad. Meanwhile, you have devalued my medal. Because if you're all going to get a medal, then why bother to work hard?
Why bother to work hard? That is a problem created.
That's the problem created. So a lot of people in school today ask themselves, why bother to work hard?
Yes, actually.
If this person who's not in school gets the good grades for not being in school, why bother to work hard? You see what I'm talking about? Failed parental strategies. We'll come down. The next thing I want to talk about is the church. Actually, I didn't want to include this, but because in this climate, in this environment where we live, the church plays a prominent role in our lives. In the Western world, I'll just stick with parenting and maybe talk about education, school. But here, the church plays a very paramount role in our lives, so we have to bring it in. Now, what's happening in the church today? The church tells these children that they are special all the time, in spite of their obvious dysfunctionality. You know, it's a thing of motivation these days when you go to church and they tell you how special you are, or you are God's gift to. I have seen people put that up. I am God's gift to the world. I've seen people say that I'm the apple of God's eye. But you see, the question is,
of course, and that's true.
But I am also the apples of God's eye.
Yes.
What makes you special if we're all special in God's eye? What makes you special if we're all special?
Okay, but then it's scriptural, no.
What scripture?
Yes.
I'd like you to let's go back to the Bible and then listen very carefully. When we talk about people being important to God, it says everybody, all men.
All men. Okay.
All men.
Yes.
Now, when they keep telling you, in spite of obvious dysfunctionality, that you are still so very special, it doesn't allow you to take a critical review of who you are and what you're doing. I've seen people go to church, for example, dressed, forgive my language, but dressed like complete fools. And nobody speaks to them. Nobody says this is wrong. Nobody says this is not that. Even the pulpit doesn't address them. Rather, it says, come as you are. God loves all. Yes, fantastic. God loves all of us. But do not make a case for your being special because you're not more special than me. I want you to think. When they tell you next time you are special, ask them why you are special. That's an assignment. Anybody telling you are special, ask. I didn't say you're not.
Okay.
I have not said you're not.
You're not.
I've only asked you to begin to ask critical questions. Why are you special? I know why I'm special. And I can sit down here for 1 hour and tell you why I'm special. As a matter of fact, I don't even need to tell you why I'm special. You don't even know me, but you know I'm special. But then they tell you are special. You are achieving nothing. You are doing nothing. As a matter of fact, you're a delinquent. But you are special. So why are you special? Are you special because you're a special delinquent? In other words, your own stupidity is amplified. That makes you special. Yes, because you can be special in your stupidity. You can be stupidly special. This is truth. So why are you special? You're sagging your pants and hanging around like smoking like you. I mean, what makes you special? The church now tells you you can have anything in life you want just because you want it. I've heard that doctrine. I'm sure you have. You can get everything. Anything is yours. All things are yours. It's not a lie. But they haven't actually told you the critical truth. It's not your desire. And I think we've talked about it on Success Precepts. What you get in life is not primarily a function of your desires. It has never been, it will never be. It is primarily a function of your actions. The seeds you put in. Very often in our lives, where we are reaping from what we did yesterday. But you're not being challenged with the truth. You're being told something that is half truth. You need to be careful about this. Because yes, you can't have anything you want, but that's just half the truth. You're not going to have it just because you want it. That motivational speech is it's a fallacy. Because when you turn a blind eye to the delinquency of the individual, and I keep telling him especially he can have anything, you see why there's a gospel in place now that makes young people, they don't think, they don't want to exert themselves. You see why I said they were lazy.
Okay.
The gospel of lazy. Do nothing, it will all come to you. I read somewhere yesterday some article somewhere, some church people were talking about reaping from other people's sowing or something funny like that. A declaration where other men have sown and reap. You are praying to God that where other men sow, you will reap. God, this day I will reap from other men's labor. The school. The third thing. Now, you get to school and you're giving grades that you don't deserve. Partly because your parents, your school, your teachers are afraid to deal with your parents. Remember I said your parents buy grades for you and they use that connection to get you into school? And so when you're connected and you're in school, the teachers are afraid to fail you. No. I'm speaking to somebody who's marking WAEC and saying these people are writing complete nonsense. I said, well, what did you do? I can't fail them. How can I? I was shocked. I can't fail them. My professor will just jump down my neck that this is their future I'm dealing with. This is their future. And they are writing rubbish. And you are giving them 28/30 for writing rubbish. Are you not part of the problem? You see, there's a bubble being created for these kids now. From the home, to the church, to the school. They have no place to check reality.
No place to check reality. No place to check reality.
Now, the net effect that this group, I really have to try and finish it so that we can do something next week. The net effect is that this group now graduates and gets into the real world. The real world. And reality hits them. They can't get a job. They find out instantly that they're not special.
And they find out when it's getting late.
When you go for an interview for one of these parastatals and they put you on the field and you're sitting down there with 2,000 other people writing on the grass, you know you're not special. But nobody told you that before you got there.
Actually.
Nothing prepared you for that. They find out that their parents cannot get them a promotion anymore. They find out that they get nothing from coming last. And they find out that they can't just get anything in life just because they want it. You see what I'm saying? That you get into life and immediately life begins to negate one by one all those things that you were growing up with, believing or thinking or accepting. You can be so engrossed with yourself and then life will bow to you. But then when you get into life hits you real hard and all of a sudden you find that you have nothing, you're not equipped. You're not special in any way. If anything, you're disadvantaged. Now this realization shakes the very foundation of their existence. That is the first thing that happens. And instantly, their entire self-image is shattered. I'm going to the problem now. They have come to reality. Reality has shaken them up. And their self-image is destroyed immediately. They have no sense of self. So you now have a generation that is growing up with little or no self-esteem. I will talk about self-esteem next week. And more importantly, they don't know what's right and wrong anymore. See, it's a dual problem. They neither have self-esteem nor do they have a moral compass. That's where we are at. Now we'll talk about self-esteem and you will understand why in this generation a girl will sell her body for little or nothing because she does not see any pride in who she is. We'll talk about what you see in our generation today. We see drug abuse. We see prostitution. What are you talking about? Where are those things coming from? That's why you go to church and people climb the pulpit and they're telling you every day, don't do it. It doesn't work. Because you haven't understood the problem, you can't solve it. So attacking it does not solve it. In fact, it makes them draw away from you. It makes them resist you. It doesn't make anything better. The rate of drug abuse amongst our youth will startle you. That's why you start hearing things about codeine. What is that?
Yeah.
Start hearing mixtures of things that you have never heard before.
You never thought would be happening.
We'll talk about why they are there. But remember what I just said. You get to a generation that has been shattered by the reality of life. And they have no self-esteem. And they don't know what is wrong and they don't know what is right. That's the beginning of our problem.
I am lost for words right now. This is more like a series. It's a chain. It's a chain of messages that deal with our reality, the reality that we are into right now. Thank you so much for your time today. As I also say, thank you so much to Mr. Kanu and Mejiwe for being here today on Success Reset. I am Sami Beji.